We're backstage at Avixa TV studio, live at Infocom. We're here with Samantha, and she's going to walk us through the behind the scenes. So, Samantha, tell us a little bit about what you've got going on here today.
Yeah, the Avixa TV studio is designed to really be a showcase of the entire broadcast AV solution. We are trying to bring to life the different types of applications that you might find out in the wild, right, in the real world. So what we've got here is really designed to showcase a bunch of different options, depending on your budget, depending on what you're trying to achieve. So you can go very, very simple, right? So our podcast setup, you can have one camera. You'll notice that we don't have a camera operator. So everything on our set is controlled through robotics. So we have a camera operator behind the scenes who's operating all of our cameras, whether we're using a one camera podcast setup or a 4-camera full production on our desk and our virtual stage and all of that together. That's all controlled by one person behind the scenes. And then we also have our technical director. So he's running all of the different shots, right? Going between things. They're able to pull in and out without physically moving the cameras. That's one of the things I love the most, right? So we don't need tons and tons of space. I mean, we're on a trade show floor. We're very limited here. Right. That's a very common use case. Some people are building studios in conference rooms. So this is, it can get real tight. It can go real high, where it looks like, you're kind of floating above set. And these don't go anywhere. These are using trackless systems that are designed to create a dynamic production and a dynamic view, as if you are on a multi-million-dollar movie set, but at a really reasonable price range and something that a few people can run. So our staff right now, for example, so we've got one gentleman who's running all of our cameras and shots and things like that, and so he's doing all the fading and the tilting and getting everything set. We have our technical director who's running the show itself. We do have an additional director who's working with the talent.
In my role when it comes to Avixa TV and our live stream, before everything happens on the floor, before we are here, I'm creating the program, the content. I'm making sure our hosts have the questions, the correct questions to ask our sponsors and our guests, everything they want to talk about, right? And then here at our show, I'm more of managing the speakers, getting them on the floor, sitting at the correct spots on the desk, and then I'm also helping communicate with our director and our host. In one of our podcasts, I had to adjust the mics and no one else could. So that was me. That was my job. So I went up there and just slowly, once they moved the camera angle, right, I slowly inched it over. But I love what I do. I love the atmosphere here.
And then, we've got our audio and lighting. So they're making sure that, we've got people coming in set and off set at all the time, right? You're switching between things. Those guys are making sure that as the people are coming off the set, they're not being picked up, right? They're not saying, oh, thank you, and oh no. Right. Sound is so critical. Our partners at Shore have provided some great equipment. We've gone with a over-the-ear, sort of across-the-face type setup. What that does is that helps reduce the ambient noise that we've got from a trade show floor. It's very busy here.
Over here?
Yes.
Fog machines?
Oh yeah, everything's going off, right? You got loudspeakers, everybody else is playing music, and there's just a buzz. So that's a really good way to make sure that the speakers are heard really well, but the noise around them is not. So we've had independent remote podcast recordings several times today and all throughout the week, which is amazing. This is a very, very common application. Everybody loves a good podcast. And so what we've done, we've worked with our partner, Forecast Consoles. They have designed custom tables, right? So it looks cool. We've worked with Shore, who's brought our microphones so that you get that really crisp sound. It's critical for podcasts. So if you're from a higher ed perspective and you're trying to create a virtual classroom, we have a whole virtual set that you can see where, put yourself in the classroom and actually lecture remotely that way. So our virtual stage is where we can take the user to completely different environments. We can really showcase them. As I said, you can put them in a We can put them in a virtual set that's a classroom. We can put them, we can put a CEO in an office building. We can put you in Paris if you want.
We try to simplify our solution in terms of getting into virtual production. And to do so, what we do is we have a locked off camera, because typically in a virtual production, they would have camera trackers on the cameras. So we simplified that the camera is locked off. We bring in the video feed inside the virtual world, and then we move the virtual camera instead of moving their physical camera. And that gives us a bit of a cheat to manipulate. So we have our software here that we can have full camera controls here. So we have forward, back. I can adjust the speed as well. Oops, if I drag this out here. So I can move freely around the virtual space. So if the director tells me, hey, can we maybe dolly left a bit? Maybe let's pull it back a bit more, and then we can pan right and then center the screen. I could easily save this as a new preset. And then every time I click on that preset, it's going to move the virtual camera to that location.
We have a full production live stream that we're running every single day for several hours a day. We are talking with some of the biggest names in AV, talking about all the hottest trends that are out there right now, and really talking through where people are seeing different technology trends going, how the geopolitical climate is impacting business. We're not shying away from having the big conversations, the hard conversations. We're asking the questions that maybe nobody has exactly the right answer yet. So we're really trying to speak to the industry and things that are relevant to them. And then through that, we are creating an entire production at the same time so that folks can come and watch the content itself that's being told, as well as the actual action of creating that content. So, whichever side you find yourself on, we've got something for everybody.
Well, thanks, Samantha, for showing us behind the scenes. If we want to check you out, how do we find more?
The best place, we are all over the internet. We want to be really accessible. So you can find us at Avixa.tv. All of our on-demand content and our streamed content is all there. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on LinkedIn, on Instagram. So wherever you can watch video, you can find Avixa TV.